Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Hi, and welcome to episode 334 of Martha Runs the World. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I have a special guest this week. Robyn Godfrey is a runner, writer, running coach, and pacer, and she is going to join me in just a moment. I recorded this interview back in May, so we talk about the release of her book. When this episode comes out, her book has already been released. Her book is called Running the World, A Runner's Odyssey of Struggle and Triumph in the World Marathon Majors. And we're going to talk all about that and everything else about her life in running. And with that introduction, here is Robyn Godfrey. Will you welcome to the show? She's a runner, writer, and she has a book coming out. She's a running coach, and she paces a lot of marathons. Will you welcome Robyn Godfrey? Hi, Robyn. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you're well.
I am doing very well. Now, let's begin here. You started running at the age of 47. Why?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. I think a lot of women in that age range were going through, the beginnings of our life change, perimenopause time frame. I was working in sales in the corporate America, and I was, going to lavish dinners, and I was drinking a lot of wine and cocktails, and the weight started coming on, and I started even to question my relationship with alcohol during that time. I have FOMO. I want to be involved in all the social activities, and I just couldn't say no a lot of times. And I woke up one morning and I just felt terrible, and I felt ashamed that I couldn't, really stop myself from doing things to excess. And I was in a hotel room in Florida, and I went to the gym and I got on the treadmill. I started running and I thought I was going to die. I was slapping the down button on the treadmill as hard as I could, but I ran for 30 seconds and I walked for like 5 minutes. And that was kind of like the beginning, the catalyst. I felt better when I got off the treadmill, and I started running on the treadmill more and more until the point where I could run longer. And then I started going outside, and then it's just kind of started transforming me like it does a lot of people.
That's incredible. You just got tired of feeling bad with alcohol then.
Yeah, just, I think when you're in the sales, and, when you're in sales, and especially in corporate America, you spend a lot of time, eating really delicious, but very bad for you food that has a lot of butter and salt. And then, with it comes, wine. And then when you're traveling, your traveling sucks, and you're trying to like deal with, the whole airline industry and all the people sitting around you. And you just think, well, I need a glass of wine, or, you're stressed out about, you didn't get, a deal that you were working on. And so you're like, well, I'm going to have, a vodka on the rocks or whatever. And pretty soon it's like an everyday thing. And that's what I found was happening to me. And I wanted to change that. I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to feel better about myself, and I wanted to slim down. And a lot of that was kind of the reason why I started.
Yeah. Well, that's an excellent reason to turn to something much healthier like running. How long did it take you to actually enjoy running once you started?
Oh, we're supposed to enjoy it?
I know. I think so. That's what I heard anyway.
Well, I think I really started to enjoy it when I got like control of my breath, because one of the things I love to do is talk. So when I could control my breath and then I could talk, then I was like, this is really fun, because I think with running, and I talk about this in my book, you go deep right away. I mean, there is no small talk with runners. You meet somebody and 5 seconds later, you're talking about bodily functions and fluids. And so I think that's what I loved about it, was that once I got breath control, then I could start having conversations with people. And I mean, we would talk about everything. And I love that part of it. So I think for me is when I got control of my breath, so I could chit chat.
Well, hey, what happens on the run stays on the run.
For sure. For sure. Thank God.
Yeah, right, right. But, it's what that I think that first time that you come home and you say, "Wow, that I feel good. That was great." And you realize, "Oh my gosh, I really like this thing called running." It's like a revelation.
It is. It is. The first time I ran 10 miles, I came home and ate an entire pizza. And my husband was like, "Oh my god." He was shocked that, but I was like I felt great. I had all the endorphins going, and I was so hungry, and I ate the entire pizza. Now I can't do that anymore because
No,
you're not gonna accomplish your running goals if you eat an entire pizza every time.
no.
But yeah, when I realized the endorphins are just, I come home and have dance parties after long runs sometimes because the endorphins are so fun. And so that's another part that I love about it too, is just having that runner's high when you get finished.
Oh, yeah. Well, and for me, the longer the run, the harder it is for me to eat afterwards. I mean, at
Same.
5 or 6 miles, I can eat a lot, but if I go out, like, I'm training for this really long race I'm doing, and, like, last week, I went out, not this past weekend, but the peak weekend, I did 18 miles, and I came home, and it took me a while to eat. Now, I had a
Mhm.
small snack because 'cause you're supposed to eat something small, so I had something, but then it took me a couple hours before I actually ate a real meal because I just wasn't hungry. I felt great and tired, but, no, there wasn't any hunger for a while.
Yeah, I have found now, I'm the same way, and, we just did this long race in the mountains, and a friend of mine did 50 miles, and he was struggling, he couldn't eat that night, and I think we can get, like, our protein drink down, but
Yeah.
then it takes a little while for the need, and then, of course, when the hunger comes, it comes in full force.
Oh, yeah, the next day, it's like, "Okay, where's that breakfast? Where's the eggs and bacon and toast and
Yes, yes, for sure.
and hash browns, can't forget those." So now you also have completed now there's 7, but so you have another one to go, but you also completed the 6 major marathons.
Mhm.
What drove you to do such an amazing goal?
Peer pressure mostly.
Really?
Um, I think when I was started running and I really found the half marathon and I love that distance and I did like a whole bunch of them right away. And a lot of people kept asking me, "When are you going to do a marathon?" And I was like, "I don't know if I could ever do a marathon." It just seemed like a really, bridge too far. But I was having, my 50th birthday was coming up and I started thinking about it. And I think we were out on a run and we were just talking about cool places to go run a marathon, and London came up. And so I thought, God, that would be amazing to run the London
Mhm.
Marathon. I mean, for my 50th birthday, my first marathon. So I went into Marathon Tours had a lottery at that time. It was only 100 spots, and I entered the lottery. I had no idea like how hard it is to get into London, and I got it. I got in the lottery, their
Wow.
100-person lottery. So, and I started training with another runner here in Wilmington where I live, and she was doing the world majors, and I had never heard of them. I didn't know what they were, and I think London was like her third one. And the more we ran together and she talked about it, I was like, that's a really cool goal to have, to run in these amazing cities
Yeah.
all over the world. And you get this really cool medal when you get it done with it. And little did I know that that was going to be the beginning of a journey that, I just never expected to start. But yeah, I did the London Marathon. I loved it. It was so much fun. I mean, it's still my favorite marathon to this day. Just, the hilarious costumes,
Yeah.
the scenery, just the different parts of the race are really interesting, and then just how much they raise for charity. It's a great place, all the things are there to make it a wonderful race, but, I just embarked on this journey that I had no idea what I was in for, but, yeah, that was kinda what sparked my interest.
Mhm. Yeah, that is I would love I'm not really big on road marathons anymore, but
Mhm.
that would be one I would do, actually, if I went
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
do any road marathons. Now, your book, it's not out yet, but it's called the full title is Running the World: A Runner's Odyssey of Struggle and Triumph in the World Marathon Majors. Okay. Sorry, I blew that title.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but, yeah, that's out next month. So
June 4th, yep.
yes, so what made you write a book about all your, running marathons?
Well, when I, when I started going through the world marathon majors, we went through a lot of difficulties in our lives. My husband was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer.
Mm,
So that was kind of the first thing that happened. And then we had a major hurricane here in
mm,
Wilmington, where I live. Then we had my husband had a series of a lot of issues with the after effects of the cancer treatment. He had to have his jaw completely rebuilt.
mm,
And he's just really suffered a lot of issues around that. And that changed our lives completely. And running was really kind of my therapy during that time. And then we had COVID, which really put a monkey wrench because I was in the midst of trying to do Boston then, and Boston
mm,
was canceled and then virtual and then moved. And it was just kind of a crazy time. And during all that time, I always kept running logs. I kept a track of everything, every run I ever did. I would make notes. And I had, injuries. We had, all kinds of other things happen. And I just started kind of compiling all of the notes and the logs and everything I had. And I thought I could I could write a book about all this, and maybe I can inspire other people who are going through their own struggles, whatever they may be,
mhm,
to just like keep going with this. That just because you have all these obstacles that get thrown up into your way, you can still go after big goals, even if your life is in a complete turmoil and disarray. You can
mm.
still do things that are for you and are important to you because you need to keep your cup filled up so you can be supportive to the other people in your life. So I think that was really kind of the message I wanted to get out, and also to kind of just spill my guts a little bit on, I'm a middle to back a pack runner.
Mhm,
I'm not fast. I'm not qualifying for
mhm.
Boston. I had to raise money. It was a lot of work. And I mean, I just want to motivate and inspire other people to do whatever they want to do. Don't feel like you can't do something because you're not fast enough or you're not, you don't fit this mold or whatever.
Mhm.
You can still do these things.
That's really, really inspirational, and I think a lot of people have to hear that. You don't have to be fast, you can get out there and run.
Hmm.
S
Absolutely.
so what piece of advice would you give your younger self?
I think, if my younger marathon self, I would say don't take it so seriously,
Okay. Mhm,
and don't get so caught up in and your pace. Don't let pace steal your joy. I wrote a blog about this too, and that
mm,
we all have goals. We all want to do things. We all
mhm,
want to, meet certain time goals and things like that. But I
mhm,
think sometimes pace can kind of steal your joy a little bit because you're worried about, oh, I'd have to meet this time, or people might think, something or other about me because I didn't run, this fast marathon or whatever. And I think once I let go of that, and it took me a while to let go of that, once I did let go of that, it was almost like that thing I was holding on to so
mhm.
tightly, actually, when I let go of it, I was empowered. I ran my last marathon was my fastest marathon. So, letting go of that kind of ego and that worry about, my pace just kind of freed me up to do what I was really meant to do and what I was able to do. So, I think just don't take it so seriously. Don't worry so much about what other people think about your pace or your time, and just have fun running.
Yeah, it's really hard, especially when you begin to it's very easy to get caught up in doing what everyone else is doing and feel bad when people pass you up and they're so much faster than you. But I've found a lot of times because 'cause I'm a back of the pack runner, I always will be, um, but when I especially, like, even in trail races, when everybody takes off, zoop, and I'm, like, the last person there, I will eventually pass a few people
Mhm.
because they went too fast.
Mhm.
You have to maintain your own pace and just do your own thing. As long as you make the cutoff times, you're gold. So what if
Yeah.
you're slow? So what? You just have to have faith in your own ability to do your race the way you wanna do it.
I also think when you are, we're hanging around people that are doing incredible
Right.
things, right? This is not the norm. Women of our age are not, for the most part, doing the things that we're doing. And it's funny, my non-running friends are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe, you're running marathons." And I'm like, "Well, this girl over here is running ultras and 100 milers, and she's my age, and she never gets injured, and she never seems to have any problems at all." And so you kind of forget that when you're in these circle of runners and in this community, that these are not the norm.
Right.
These people are, you know, outliers. The norm of our population and women in our age range are not doing this kind of stuff. And so I have to remind myself sometimes, like, I may not be as fast as these other people, but I'm doing things that a lot of people my age are not doing, and I should be proud of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, some of us get injured, but we get back on the road. We fall, we get back up. When did you discover trail running?
I fell into it kind of. I was road running with all my new friends when I started running. I joined the local run club and, just started doing everything everybody else was doing. And there was a local trail race here in a park, not too far from here. And they were having, I think they had a 9 mile and an 18 mile trail race. And I thought, well, I'll just do the 9 mile. I don't really know what I'm doing. I've never run on a trail before. So I thought I could run the same pace that I ran on the roads on the trail. And it's hilarious now, because I was running down this trail, at my normal road raid pace, and I hit something and went just flying through the air. And there was a turn I was supposed to make, but I didn't make the turn. I went straight into like a huge clump of trees and bushes and everything. But I loved it. It was so much fun because it was like being a little kid again, just exploring the woods and running around. And I mean, sometimes I get a little intimidated if I haven't been on trails for a while because I don't want to fall and, get hurt or whatever. But, I also love just being out in we were out in the mountains, like, a couple weekends ago doing trails, and it's just so peaceful and quiet. We call it forest bathing. And
That's
it's
nice. I
almost,
like that.
yeah, when you go into the woods, it's like this kind of peace settles over you and everything in
Mhm,
the world kind of stays outside that little perimeter, and it's so alive in there. There's so
mhm,
much life in the forest, and we have here in North Carolina so many beautiful places to run, and lots and lots of different kind of trail races if you
mhm,
want to do ultras. And so it's a great community here. They're very
mhm.
supportive. There's a lot of women groups that run together. We call them Trail Sisters, and they'll just go drop you off somewhere in the middle of the woods and you run back. So it's just there's a lot of crazy things you can do here, and I think just the adventure of it is so much fun, and just being out in nature all day long, and there's no I don't feel that time crunch. I have to get back, I can only do 5 miles. I gotta get back. It's like when you're out there in the woods, it's kind of like when I get done, I'm done, and
Yeah.
I don't have to be anywhere else, really. I don't.
Were you like me in that you've hiked on trails and then you realized you can run on them too? I mean, I never thought about that. I backpacked in my younger days. I've hiked all my life and I never thought about running on them.
Same.
It was like a revelation to me. What? You run on them?
Well, and now we laugh saying that we actually do better running than we do walking, because when we walk on them, that's when we tend to trip. It's because
Well,
you're not looking at as much. My husband is like flabbergasted. He's like, "I cannot believe you run on these trails." But I think it's like I was the same way. I couldn't believe it either. Like, people
yeah.
run on this. The first time I heard somebody talk about trail running, I just was like, "Why would you wanna do that? That sounds really, really hard."
It
But
is hard. I actually fell on it when I was running on a trail that I've been on 100 times up in the Headlands, which is this open space area we have in San Francisco. It's north of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's just this wide open space, hundreds and hundreds of miles of trails up there, and I fell on it and I hurt my shoulder really bad. So I have a hard time running on single track. So I will probably be hiking, fast hiking on it, and I can run on the fire road. So, but I still
yeah.
have a psychological thing about running on the single track unless it's, like, nice and smooth. I have a hard time with rocks. So I'll probably be hiking quickly on it. Um, so I do better with hiking right now than I do running on them, but that's just me.
Do you
It's
use
just
poles, trekking
I do,
poles?
I
I
do.
do too,
Yeah,
yeah. I found
yeah,
those really help me,
they do.
um,
They
just
really
kind of
do.
like especially on downhills. I really struggle on downhills because I
Mhm,
got really grumpy knees, and so downhill just hurts so bad, and having
mm,
those poles just kind of takes the weight off a little bit. I tend to not use them going uphill, but I use them more going downhill.
When we use
But
some steep trails where it's really steep going up and real steep going down, I use them for that. I put them away if it's not super rocky or if it's not steep, either
yeah,
up or down. Then I have a little belt that I can just put them on real quick. It's nice to get them out of
yeah,
the way.
yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely use them, especially after that fall. That fall was really scary. So, but that's
That's trail running.
it is, sure is. Like I said, you fall down, you get back up.
Yeah.
Um, now you run ultras as well?
I've
Okay,
only run one ultra, and that's
okay,
the Grayson Highlands
okay,
50K. I did that last year. I did their 25K this year
okay.
just because I felt like I mean, for me, I felt like it was a very technical course. A lot of rocks, a lot of mud, a lot of elevation. The last 3 miles are straight up.
Oh,
So,
ooh,
yeah, I know. I was telling my friends, it feels a lot different when you, are doing the 25K.
mhm.
So when you're at, 11 miles or 12 miles and you have 3 miles straight up, it feels a lot different than when you have 27 miles on your legs going straight up.
I can imagine that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
there's some nice there's some nice races out there. I think there's one that's like on the beach too, or near the beach. Like might be in South Carolina, but it's not too far from you.
Yeah, yeah, they have the guy that runs Grayson Highlands has, like, the Georgia Death Race, he's
Mm,
got a couple other, really difficult races
yeah.
that they manage, yeah.
Those are tough ones, definitely. So, now you are also a running coach. So, why did you start, coaching other runners?
Well, I got my certification this year because people were coming up and asking me, to help them, with the training plan or different things. And I thought, I probably should get certified before I start helping too many people because, I feel like I know a lot about running, but I also felt like I should probably make sure I know more, more than I know now. And I took the certification class. It was great. There was a lot of great information on there, and I'm still
Mhm,
learning. I'm still learning from veteran coaches that have been around for a while. I had some really good coaches when I was doing my races, still running, but when I was doing my marathons, I had some great coaches, and
mhm,
so I just love being able to help other people reach their goals if they're doing their first 5K or they're a seasoned marathoner, or I have a one person I was coaching that had never worn a watch, and he was just running, half marathons at,
mhm.
like, 7-minute pace.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
and he wants to
Wow.
get faster. Yeah, and so, just it's so fun to talk to these different people and their different levels and what their goals are, and it's challenging, coming up with plans. I created a plan for our, trail race out in Grayson Highlands. I had never done, like, an ultra plan before, so that was really fun, kinda putting that together and knowing what I will and won't do next time.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just just motivating for me to watch these people reach their goals with the training plans I come up with.
Sure, sure. What's your favorite distance to run?
Oh, I love the marathon. I just now that I feel like I have it more dialed in. The first couple times I did one, I didn't like it, but I love a half marathon. I think a half
Yeah.
marathon is probably my favorite. I pace a lot of half marathons here locally.
Mhm.
Again, just trying to help other runners get to their goals.
Sure.
And pacing is so much fun for me because I can chit chat with everybody around me and I can, hear what, their goals are, and when they PR at the end, I'm just so excited for them, and so
Mhm.
I love doing that. So half marathons to me are something that I can do without having to, like, spend a ton of time training, but there's still a good distance. I mean, it's not just a half, right? And so, it's still challenging but it's also, like, not not so much time training that you have no life.
Yeah, exactly. So you're in a trail race and you pull up to an aid station. What's the first thing you go for?
Oreos.
Ah, yes. Yes. Yes, that's the ding 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 correct answer.
Love me some Oreos. But I also when I did the 50K last year, they were making quesadillas. Those were pretty good.
Mm.
They were cooking up some great food. I'm not much of a meat eater, so they were making avocado and cheese quesadillas. Those were pretty
Ooh,
good.
those are nice.
But Oreos are definitely up there. And I carried like salted potatoes with me, and those were great on the trail. I felt like that was a really good. It was not bothering my stomach, and it was good fuel, and it was easy to carry. So I ate a lot of those.
See, we on trails, we run to eat,
Oh yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
I eat things that I never eat, like ramen. I never eat those cup of noodles things,
Oh
except
yeah,
on a trail. If it's I tell you, if it's cold out, if it's really cold out, those cup of noodles are on the trail are amazing.
yeah.
Oh, they're so good. They're so, and I never eat those things except when I'm running.
Yeah, I never drank so much pickle juice in my life as when I
Right?
was, running. Yeah, I go
Uh,
for the Oreos and the pickle juice, which don't
mhm.
sound like they're very good together, but
They work. I know you have Trader Joe's out where you are. They
Mhm.
have the little packets, little single packets of green olives. I don't know if you're an olive person. I love olives. They're those little individual packets of green olives. They're 99 cents, and there's like 6 or 7 olives in a packet. They're not messy, so there's no juice. They just
Yeah,
have the olives.
yeah.
They're perfect to take with you on if you're on a long run. Stick them in there if you need the salt, and they taste really yummy, and for me, they sit really well in my stomach, so I'll take
Oh,
a
wow,
couple of
that's a
those.
good idea.
I
Yeah.
know, and it's just a little packet. You just fold it up and throw it out when you're done, and it's 99
Yeah.
cents. I mean, it's better it's a heck of a lot cheaper than all that other stuff
Yes.
runners stuff that they package up for $3 and $4 a packet. You've got a little packet
Yes.
of olives, and they taste better too, so there
Yeah,
you
for
go.
sure.
Alright, so I have one more question for you that
Sure.
I'd like to ask all my runners. If you could do any race anywhere,
Mhm.
regardless of qualification, travel, difficulty of getting there or difficulty of getting in, what race would you like to run?
Well, I was prepared for this question.
Ah,
Antarctica. I would love to, do that race, the marathon down there. It just looks I'm fascinated by all things in Antarctica. I don't know why. I've read all the stories about the exploration and, just would love to do that race.
that would be a fun one. That would be a
Yeah,
really fun one.
yeah.
That would be I think anywhere where it's really cold like that would be really fun. I think that would be a fun one. I think the one in Greenland would be really fun.
Yeah, that would be too. I think for me, it's just, Antarctica is like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
still kind of like an
That's
unexplored place,
yeah,
and, not many people have been
true.
there, it's
No,
so
that's
I'm gonna have to
true.
win the lottery, though, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it is yeah, it costs a lot of money to go there, doesn't it? Like
Yes,
$10,000 or something like that.
at
At
least,
least,
yeah.
probably more. I'm probably downplaying the cost. Yeah, it's very expensive to go there, but it looks really neat. Well, thank you so much for being on my show. This has been a lot of fun, and
Yes,
I
thank
can't
you.
wait to read your book. I'm gonna really look forward to it, and I'll talk about it after I read it on the show. And best of luck to everything. You also have a 7th marathon now that you have to do in Australia. So trip to Australia.
Yeah, yeah, I am interested in doing it. I did Tokyo in 2024, and I
Mhm.
wasn't really prepared to kinda turn around and do another one in
Mm,
Australia so quickly. So, I did put my name in the lottery for this year, and I didn't get it,
mm,
but it's definitely on my radar. I'm not saying no to it, but I'm
yeah.
also not in a rush to jump into it. But, yeah, so my book comes out June 4th on Global Running Day, and I hope,
Nice.
that folks will get a copy and enjoy it and tell me what you think.
Very cool, very cool. Well, best of luck on your book and everything, and I hope everything in your family goes well too.
Oh,
And,
great. Thank you.
thank you so much, and we'll probably talk in the near future, and we'll
Okay.
see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Martha.
Thank you so much, Robin. It was a pleasure having you on the show. It was very fun talking with you. I wish you the very best of luck in everything that you do. My big race is coming up this week. I am excited, nervous, kind of freaking out over it, but I know I'm going to do it. I know it's going to hurt a lot. I know all this stuff. I take off for Auburn Friday. I do my race however long it takes Saturday. I already have got an approval for late checkout Sunday. And yeah, and then Sunday, however I'm going to do it, I drive up to Tahoe. I should have had my checkout Monday, but I did not. So I'm checking out Sunday afternoon and then go up to Tahoe and then stay in Tahoe until Wednesday when I drive back home. And I'll tell you all about my trip when I come home and all about my race. I didn't think this through, I think, but it is what it is, and it will be what it will be, as Doris Day used to say. All right, that is it, and that's all I'm going to say this week. Wish me luck in my race, and it will be, like I said, I'll tell you all about it. I already have an episode all lined up for when I'm gone. I will have my laptop with me, so in case I need to fix anything or do anything with the show, I will have it with me in Tahoe. And Auburn, of course. All right. That is it. And my website is martharunstheworld.com. And all of Robyn's information will be on the show website. If you want to email me, it's martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.